the dates on all these, it looked like there's a big change that happened around 1990, and I was wondering, like, what changed in your style? Like, something happened. I was wondering if you could talk about that.
1990. Oh, very
nice. It looks
nice.
like it. Yeah, yeah.
Well, 1990.
I don't know.
No, something very intense happened. Really, really intense, and I don't know. It's kind of deeply deep, but 1990 was around the time that I started doing the contents page. Actually, I started that in '89, and I think that this was something that I had longed for and aimed for a long time. I went to New York at the age of 21, and it was 1977, and for over 10 years pursued Rolling Stone magazine because I was, as a high school student, I used to open up every Rolling Stone to see the work of Ralph Steadman, and always really turned on by his work and felt from a young age that Rolling Stone would be the place to be. So I didn't tire of harassing them for 10 years, and actually every time they got a new art director, I would go see their new art director, but they never bit. But finally Fred Woodward came along, and I knew his work from seeing it in Texas, actually, and contacted him when I was in New York and said, we gotta do something, we gotta do something. And when I heard that he was in New York, I went into his office and I was all over him. What are we gonna do, what are we gonna do? And a year later, he came up with this idea for me to do the contents page for every issue, and that lasted for 7 years. But I was really getting my stride around that time that you mentioned, and the Rolling Stone work, I think, brought out a lot more freedom in me as an artist. First of all, I knew I had a constant audience. I knew it was a young audience. Plus, I had an art director for the first time in my life who didn't need to see any sketch. Anything I gave him was fine. So I think that I got a lot of confidence at that time to really take more chances. And also, as I started doing the contents page, he always requested the white background, because the type was really nice against it. But in order to get a really white background, they were doing something to the images that kind of bleached them. So I started really pumping up the volume on the color to counteract that. And I think I was looking at a lot of Van Gogh's work and really inspired by that color. So that's kind of superficially what happened, and then something else really.